Profit centers are the areas of your business that generate financial activity. Profit centers are optional. They are used in transaction entry to identify the areas of your business that each transaction or portion of each transaction is associated with. Using profit centers allows you to analyze the profitability of different areas of your business. To set up profit centers, we're going to click on Setup. We're going to go down to Profit and Production Centers and then over to Profit Centers. You can see here that I have some profit centers already set up for my company. My company raises apples, they have corn, and they have actually two companies in the same database. One is an orchard and it has apples and it has a market. The other is a farm and it has corn, soybeans so far, and it also has some feeder cattle. We also raise wheat, and wheat is the profit center that I need to go ahead and add. I want to make a comment though about the profit centers here because I have a profit center called apples here. And very often when we're talking about an orchard specifically, they want to identify their profit centers as the individual varieties that they raise, such as Gala or organic Gala apples, Braeburn apples, Golden Delicious, Red Delicious, and so on. So what you want here on the profit center level is the lowest level of detail that you want to be able to analyze profitability by. We have another thing called the profit center group where you can then later group different profit centers together. For example, I could take all my apple varieties and put them in a group called apples and do an analysis on apples. But here you want to identify the lowest level that you want to do your analysis by. Okay, we've chosen to just go to the apple level, but you may want multiple varieties. To create a new profit center, I'm going to go ahead and click New. And it's going to ask us for an abbreviation, which is optional. I'm going to go ahead and put one in, and then it's going to take us to a field called the distribution factor. We have a distribution called, well, we have two distributions, one for crop and one for livestock. One is called a per acre distribution, and one is called a per head distribution. And it will treat each profit center equally, unless, of course, you change this distribution factor. Okay, so for right now, with the distribution factor being 1, 10 acres of corn is treated the same way as 10 acres of soybeans. Okay, 10 acres of wheat is treated the same way as 10 acres of corn. Okay, if I were to change this distribution factor to something other than 1, I would be altering or changing the weighting of that distribution. So if you want to go ahead and play around with changing the weighting of distributions to give maybe another profit center or a certain profit center a higher weighting than some of the other profit centers or a lower weighting, you could go ahead and adjust that distribution factor. We're going to leave ours at 1, and I'm going to go ahead and give this the name of wheat. And then it's going to ask me to identify a type. It is very important for you to identify any crop profit centers as crop and any livestock profit centers as livestock. Additionally, you would want to make sure that if you're keeping personal records within the farm database, that you identify those personal transactions as personal by creating a profit center as personal and then identifying it as a personal profit center. Everything else, it really doesn't matter whether or not you identify it as business, non-business, non-farm, other farm, or other. Okay, this one is going to be a crop profit center. For each profit center, I have a optional field here to identify the inventory account for that profit center. I'm going to go ahead and select my inventory account for wheat for this particular profit center, but that is an optional field. Then we're going to be asked to identify if this is a profit center that has any kind of inventory associated with it. It will ask us to identify the unit of measure or unit of measures for that inventory. For my wheat, we're going to go ahead and put in bushels. Now, when I click on the lookup at the end here, you can see that there is a predefined list of profit or of units of measure that are in the system. If you need to create a new unit of measure because the one you're looking for isn't on the list, you would simply click the new button right here to create a new unit of measure. I'm going to go ahead and select bushels. It does allow you up to 2 units of measure. Usually we use those 2 unit of measures with livestock. You would probably have unit of measure as the number of head of livestock, and then the unit of measure 2 would usually represent some sort of weight for the livestock, whether that's pounds, whether that's hundredweight, or something else. Okay, with my crops, I don't usually have a second unit of measure, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it blank, and then I'm going to go ahead and click Save to create that profit center.